Hey everybody, welcome to part 6 of our slab box building series. Today we're going to be glazing our boxes. Let's take a look at a few glazes that you might want to choose for your box. Number 1 is LG65 Amber. It's an Amico glaze. It's extremely beautiful. It has a lot of depth to it and a very nice color. I think you're going to love it. It can run a little bit, so make sure you follow the label's recommendations and only use 3 coats. Next up we have Fletcher Cobalt. It's a very nice cobalt blue. I'm sure you probably used it before and familiar with it. Yeah, just make sure you put on at least 3 coats or more. Very nice glaze, but it needs at least 3 coats, 4 or 5 even better. Fletcher Turquoise is also a nice glaze. Now keep in mind that the Fletcher Turquoise and the Fletcher Cobalt and the clear glazes look a lot alike, but I promise you they're different. The turquoise, just like the cobalt, the more you put on, the better it's going to look. Put on 5, 4 coats, somewhere around in there, nice thick coats. It's going to give you a really rich color, and it's going to flow into your sgraffito designs and just accentuate your patterns and just make it really beautiful. Just a wonderful glaze. And because it's a transparent glaze, you will still be able to see your carvings through the glaze, so you don't have to worry about hiding all that work you just put into it. And lastly, of course, Fletcher Clear. It might look green in the bottle, but I promise you it'll come out of the kiln clear. And it's a very beautiful glaze as well. But I want you to keep in mind one thing, and that is over the black underglaze, you want to keep the glaze thin. It says on the label, use 1 to 2 coats. That would be 1 thick coat or 2 thin coats. If you put the glaze on too thick, it can develop these little bubbles in the glaze. They don't hurt the glaze at all. It's still going to be shiny and it's still going to feel smooth, but it can make it a little cloudy and it can cover up some of your carving. So keep that in mind. Alright, once you picked out your glazes, there's really nothing to it but to put the glaze on. And I picked out this really nice bright sun yellow because I want it to be like a surprise when you open up the box. But I want you to keep in mind that I'm going to fire these with the lids on. So if you have any glaze, just like this, the lid's going to be on. If you have any glaze where the lid touches the pot, it's going to fuse the box together. So you want to try and really be careful not to get any glaze where the lid touches the pot. And if you do, I found it way easier to just wipe it off immediately. You might even want to keep a little small cup of water and a sponge just in case you drip a little bit on there. You can wipe it off immediately. That's what I did and it worked really good. And then you can go ahead and paint the clear on over the black. And I put 3 coats of the clear on the lid because the lid doesn't have any black underglaze and I wanted to be really nice and glossy and really nice and shiny. So I put 3 coats on the lid. Now this is what my box looked like after the first coat of clear dried. And you can see how there's black showing through the green. If you can see black showing through the green, that's an indication that you need to put on a second thin coat. And once you can't see any of the black through the green, then you're good to go. Now that you have it all glazed, you're going to want to make sure that there's absolutely no glaze where the lid touches the pot. Even just a little tiny bit of glaze can stick the lid to the pot, so you definitely don't want that. So go ahead and wipe it all off. And again, it's easier to wipe it off when it's fresh and wet, so try and see if you can do that as you go. And have the bottom cleaned, put it on the cart, and I'm going to load it in the kiln and fire to cone 05. And if you remember, that's low fire, or what's considered earthenware temperatures.